they scored the winning goal. So I mean, that's all there is to it. They scored the winning goal late, and they won the game.
Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news and commentary on all things Chicago Red Stars. I'm your host, LT. Joining me once again for another loss is my good friend and Red Stars Report community member is Liz. Welcome back, Liz.
So happy to be here again for another loss.
we were just talking about how you suspected them to lose because I had asked you to be on this episode prior to the match.
I was hoping that it wasn't going to be a loss. I was like holding out hope, and then sadness.
Yeah, there was a few things that were that happened that a lot of people seemed to speak into existence in the negative way, which was unfortunate. Well, like right off the bat, Chicago loses 2-1 to Gotham, a club that hasn't scored more than one goal in a match all season. Of course, this is when they choose to break that streak. They also choose former Chicago Red Star Ella Stevens to be their fighter at the death to win it for them. Sucks, it hurts. That's football. But it was something people were talking about prior to the match that Gotham hasn't scored more than one, and then here we are. They score more than one against us. Rose Lavelle, her first start this season. Just many things people just love to do right when they meet up with Chicago, like Portland last time that we did a show together. Just decided to be good once they got to Chicago.
Yeah, I believe this was the first time Rose has played over 45 minutes in a game as well, because why not? Why not have like a superstar talent like that?
That's absurd. And just like the amount of people they could bring off the bench where you're like, what? Like
right. Like when they subbed in Davidson and Dunn, and you're like, oh, cool. There's two USWNT national team players.
Unfair. Their bench is unfair. Not that those are bench players. It is what it is. It is. Outside of the 2 goals from unmarked players, I thought the defense did their job today alongside Mackenzie Wood, who got her first start in goal for the Red Stars in a regular season match. Wood made a couple of great saves. One, unfortunately, after an offside call, so it doesn't count, but it was the type of save that we've seen her make before against the Mexican national team last year. So it was nice to see her in goal. She spoke after the match about how comfortable she was after getting that save, not save.
I feel like once you get one save down, you feel more comfortable. So that kind of helped me. Even though it was offsides, that helped my confidence a lot.
She looked comfortable. She looked good. I thought maybe like a couple of things here and there that she'd want back, but I thought she did well. I knew she would do well because I have been speaking her praises for over a year now.
Yeah, I thought she had a good game. There was nothing that really jumped out to me that was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. So that's always good when your goalkeeper doesn't do anything like that. That save that wasn't really a save, but in my heart, it's a save. I think that that's a huge confidence builder for her in the game. And then as well, if moving forward, she is going to continue to start. Obviously, we don't know the big status of how long Alyssa's going to be gone. And so but to have a keeper like that come in, make that huge save, again, not really a save, but in that, I'm counting it. I'm just going to count it because that sort of situation, if you can put your body on the line like that and make that sort of stop, it was point blank impressive, like just overall impressive. We've seen Alyssa do that time and time again, and to know that your backup keeper is capable of that as well. I mean, come on, can't get any better than that.
Yeah. Speaking of you don't know how long she's going to be in goal for the Red Stars. She did in the post-match presser. She did say like, I can't wait to get back in training, work these things out, and get back out onto the pitch. So I don't know what that alludes to. If she knows, I'm sure she knows more than us, but it sounds like, just based on her response, that she may be in goal for them again next week.
Unfortunate, but I mean, this was a good building block for her. When she had to sub in for Alyssa, I thought that one goal that she gave up in the previous game wasn't really anything she could do about that. And then today, I would say both of the goals that were scored were not her fault. They were just players that were completely unmarked, and they just had free runs at the goal. And there's nothing a keeper is going to be able to do about that.
Yeah, even if she, didn't commit so much to the to that side of the post that she did on that volley back to the other side of the post, she still wouldn't have been able to get that save off of Lynn's header. So I don't think it was, a mistake by her in any way. It was just unmarked players in the box, which was an issue for them all match.
Yeah, a lot of missed opportunities from Gotham. It was kind of a lucky 2-1 loss. It could have been a lot worse because the marking in the box was just horrendous across the board.
Yeah, the other defenders, like Sam Staub, she made her 100th consecutive start, the only player ever to cross the century mark in consecutive matches started. The even more insane part of that statistic is that she's started in every match of her career, according to Football Reference. Like, that's nuts. Like, who does that? That, like, from your first start to now, still starting every single match.
I mean, it just speaks to how good of a player she is. She's there. She's always going to be that rock for you defensively. And she's come right into Chicago and seamlessly fit into that back line. And she's made some ridiculous saves. Her throw-ins are phenomenal. I mean, how lucky are we to have Sam Staub on our team? Honestly, like crazy lucky.
Yeah, I wonder if her, like, regimen or her training or whatever she does is anything out of the ordinary from a normal NWSL player, a normal pro player. Like, you can just see how the way her career has gone, even though she has so many minutes on those legs, the fact that she is consistently there for, 90 minutes over and over and over and over and over again, you can't imagine the longevity that she will have in her career. And it's not like she's even close to her prime. She's what, 26? Like,
I believe so, yes.
she's getting there to her prime, but I can see her playing well into her 30s. Just thinking about the amount of work that she puts in to consistently be out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be fun to hear what she does like after games. Like, what's her post-game routine? What's her pre-game routine? What does she eat before games? I'm always curious to hear what players want, like what they eat, because some of it's absolutely wild. But like, what is her life like a day in the life of Sam Staub? Like, how does she take care of her body? Because clearly she's doing something, or she's just built different, because that is not something that you see from a lot of different players.
Obviously, everyone's different, and different things work for different people. It's probably all the trivia that she plays with the Newtons. All that trivia, all that brain power that probably helps her on the pitch stay out there. I'm sure it does. But her partner right next to her, Natalia Kuika, was part of that first poor marking on that goal by Lynn. But I think she was really the reason that they stayed in the match for as long as they did to begin with. She was tracking back on defense, constantly making the right reads on crosses, getting in the way of passes, shots. She's just, I think, on another level as a center back compared to a lot of the players who play that position right now. But she just doesn't get the credit that she deserves from the national media. I think she's kind of been this like unsung hero for the club.
Yeah, I agree. There were so many times that she shut Lynn Williams down when Lynn had beaten us on the outside, and it was impressive. I mean, when I think of Kuika, I don't think of her being super fast, but watching her track down Lynn, she just plays, she's so smart with her runs. And the angles that she takes, which you have to do as a center back, because typically you're not the fastest player on the pitch. And the way she shut down some of Lynn's opportunities today, there could have been a lot more goals scored, but Lynn wasn't having the best finishing day of her career either. But I will say that, how many times did Quika do the splits today? I think I counted at least 3 or 4.
It was certainly a lot. She likes to make those leg stretch blocks. I don't know if she would have been able to get that one that Lynn whiffed on, but if she was there to get that, if Lynn didn't put it top bin, I'm sure that it would have been something we would have stood out of our seats
Save of the
for.
week.
Save of the week. I think I think it was on a Sam Staub throw in. Natalia was like near the top of the box when the ball was bouncing around and everything, and then Gotham went on a very quick counter, and the only 2 players back were Tatum and Carey. By the time that ball even made it into Chicago's box, Natalia was already back in the box. Like, you could just see her out of frame and then goes into frame and is just sprinting towards the box, and she got there before the ball did, which I don't know how many people can make that kind of run in the NWSL, but I've certainly have not seen a center back, probably outside of like Sarah Gordon, sprint that fast back into position.
Yeah, it was really good. She was, to me, the player of the match. She was all over the pitch. She made a lot of just effort plays that I don't think will be in the stat sheet, on the stat sheet. She just was all out effort today, in my opinion. Obviously, Staub also had a really good game. I think our center backs are just really, really good, and have been helping us all season, and especially in the game today. And I think for Wood, that also is helpful for her to have such veterans as the center back pairing, because she can lean on them a little bit when she needs to.
It was something that I had talked about prior to the match, was my confidence in Mackenzie Wood with having Sam and Natalia and even Maxi and Tatum or Taylor as the defenders in front of her. The last time that we got to see Wood play a full match was against that Mexican national team, let up 5 goals. It could have been, I don't know, 12 goals if it wasn't for her saves. But like, the defense in front of her in that match was atrocious. So if she could hold a national team, a good national team like the Mexican national team, to 5 goals, I had confidence that she was going to be able to play better or let up less goals, even though essentially the U.S. women's national team was coming at her in this one.
I know, it's tough. Oh,
But
man.
to only give up 2 goals and neither of them really be your fault, I think says a lot about her, but also the experience that was in front of her. Obviously, as we keep mentioning, like, those 2 goals coming from just players wide open is a struggle. It's not fun to watch. It's not easy to watch. But it's something that could be corrected with time. So I have confidence that if she's in goal again for the next match against Racing, that I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I learned a lot. I did not watch the game last year when they played Mexico. I don't remember what I was doing, but I think I was away somewhere. And so this was kind of my first time, other than when she subbed in last game, to see her play, and to see her play the full 90. I was really impressed. I mean, you've got as you said, the U.S. women's national team coming at you, plus you've got a World Cup champion coming right at you front and center. I mean, that is tough. That is a lot to ask of somebody in their first like official start. And I think she had an excellent game. It just, if we could mark in the box, because it's insanely frustrating to watch, but I'm not going to rant about it.
It's true. It's true though. It you know it yeah. It's not easy to see such easy goals be scored on you. You want them to be those like bangers from outside the box that we've been seeing against Chicago, where you're just like, nothing you could do. But they could absolutely do something about the ones that got scored on them today. So it's unfortunate. On the other side of the defense, we got to see Tatum Milazzo come back. I thought she had a good match back for the first time. She hasn't played since her injury against Bay FC that she got taken out at half, and then she didn't play in the last match. She was on the bench, but I feel like that was just out of necessity. Like if they needed her, they would have used her. Um, so her starting in this match and not being subbed out, I think, was telling of their confidence in her on that left side of the defense. Solid in her 1v1 defending. Her passing looked a little better than it usually does at times. It's usually very bad. Made a couple of free runs down the flank. I thought she was good, and I hope that she stays there. If we could like combine her defensive skills with Taylor's ability to get forward, I'd like that a lot. It's like where one of them lacks, the other thrives, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, I think that's where Lawrence struggles on who he's going to start because he's trying to think of what we need on a given day. And I think that Tatum was the solid choice today to play because that's, as we just mentioned, who's running at you on this team. And so I think Tatum was the solid choice. And I think she had a really good game for the most part. I think that there were times where her and Maxi possessed the ball and actually took it essentially down the field, which was really good to see. I like that, but then sometimes I get a little nervous because then we get a little out of shape and then bad things happen. But I think Tatum had a solid game today. I know today was probably a tough time for her emotionally. It's a tough time, but I think that I'm glad that she got to play. I think it would have been even tougher if she would have been on the bench. So I'm happy that she had a good game and she got minutes and just I think that to me, I think that she's the choice. She's the choice at that position. I like Malum in certain circumstances, but I think overall I like Tatum's game more than I like Malum's. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I try to think of it like when Malum is playing defense, I kind of like tense up and I'm like, oh gosh, like please be good, please be good, please be good. And I don't feel that with Tatum, but then when Tatum has the ball and it needs to go forward, I'm like, please make a good pass, please make a good pass. But when Taylor has it, I'm like, okay, I think I'm confident in what she'll be able to do with this. So that's what I mean by like the struggle, like what you want out of your left back. Do you want like you only have two choices. You either get someone who is just a rock solid defender and no one's going to get by them and they're going to make their tackles and they're going to win their duels, or do you want someone who's going to get the ball up the field and you're going to have Sam cover them for their defensive mistakes? That's like those are your two options and you got to pick one. I'm sure I'm sure they choose based on the opponent, whoever that right winger is or whoever's playing at the 9 or the 10. I'm sure they choose in some ways based on that, but it really does feel like the fact that Tatum got the start a few matches ago, got injured in the following match, and then was on the bench, but it didn't seem like it's like a little unwritten rule in sports. You know, you don't lose your position through injury, but it does happen. And I was nervous that that might have been the case, but her getting the start in the full 90 in this one, I thought was very telling. And if Taylor's the one who starts against Racing, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. But I think Tatum's performance was deserving of a following start.
Yeah, I could see Taylor starting against Racing, just given the fact that we might be more offensive in that game. So I could see that, but I could also, I mean, Racing's got a lot of talent up front too, so maybe it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough call for Lauren, depending on what he wants to do. But yeah, I think Tatum definitely deserved the start today. Played well. I thought that on the flip side of that, Maxie kind of struggled a little bit, but Lynn Williams is a monster, so it's tough.
Yeah, it's true. I think Maxie, even in the last few matches, has kind of declined from her early season form. Perhaps like there's enough film on her available to other teams to figure her out, and it's been a little frustrating to witness. You can kind of tell just how they're like teams are putting their faster players against her, or just seem to do a little better covering her ability to get around people on the wing and for her to play up higher. But I think she'll turn it around eventually, but right now it just seems to be a little bit of a struggle for her.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. I think people didn't know what to expect from her when she kind of busted into the starting lineup for Chicago. And now it's like, okay, this is what she does. This is what she's good at. And this is kind of what she struggles at. She's not as fast. So yeah, putting Lynn on that side definitely made sense. But I think that she brings such a physicality on defensively, and also her ability to get into the box on set pieces and corners is such a huge asset for us. And when we're defending set pieces and corners as well. But yeah, when she went down, she had a collision with Wood, and she went down. I was like, oh no, now what are we gonna do? But luckily she was fine. And that to me was just an accidental, like nobody to blame there in that situation. I think Maxie got pushed into Wood actually, and it was just kind of a whatever play, and everybody was fine. But I think that my worry was, oh no, now what do we do if she's down? Then I'm like, who the heck are we going to have play out there? So that could be an interesting conundrum if that ever happens. Hopefully not, knock on wood. But yeah, I think that Maxie's going to figure it out. I think that she had success and now she's going to struggle, and then she's going to figure out what teams are doing against her and then be able to figure out how to beat what they're doing. It's just going to be a process. It's going to be a little cat and mouse game kind of.
When Maxie was injured, the only players that had played on that side of the field in place of her, I think, were Tatum and Chardonnay, and that's it. Cameron Bogalski is also an outside back, but the only time we've seen her, they played her in the midfield. And Chardonnay was a midfielder that they played at outside back. So not that she played poorly there. I just the defense has been so solid and healthy for the most part that they haven't had to answer those questions about like what do you do in a long term basis of if someone goes down on that side. Maxie was only out for what, 2 matches or 1 match, I can't remember.
Yes, I think it was 1 or 2. Yeah, I can't remember.
But they didn't need to find a long-term solution there. I mean, their long-term solution was Tatum, but I still think she doesn't play well on the right side. So I don't think that should have been a long-term solution. But overall, I think she has been declining in some ways, but I like her physicality. I like how brave she is when she challenges other players. Even if she does get beat a lot by speedier players, she's willing to take them on facing them rather than trying to catch up to them or push them to the corner or anything. She just takes them straight on. If she gets beat, Natalia's there to save her because that's what Natalia does. Natalia and Sam have been the saviors of getting beat on the wings all season. That's their job. I would even add Carrie into that, who plays defensively out of position a lot to save those balls down the wings, but it's bound to happen. It's just the style of play that Chicago plays with right now. I doubt they'll change anything, so it's just gonna kind of keep happening. Um, there's no changing. It's just inevitable. But I think right now the midfield is still kind of our biggest issue. The two, whoever is on the field at the time, are always just having to play so deep into their own half that the connections to the front line just aren't there. I think Carrie had a much better match this time than last time. I thought last time out she probably had the worst match of her season. And I know people love Leilani and think that she's playing really well, but I just don't see it. Yes, she's winning her duels. She's very good at challenging people. It's flashy, it's cool, but her awareness I don't think is there the majority of the time. Her passing is just not great at all outside of that one pass that she had to Penelope on the outside. When you take someone out like Julia, who has close to or above an 80% passing accuracy, and then you put in Leilani, you're going to lose even more of that connection with the front line. And it's having her out there has helped with the challenging players trying to get into the box. But right now, that wasn't the issue that Chicago was facing. The issue has been getting forward, and Leilani just doesn't get forward as much as Julia does.
Yeah, the midfield is just, I don't know what the right combination is. I have wondered if, I know everybody likes Nesbeth for sure. I'm in the same boat with you. I don't particularly care for the passing. I think especially with Tatum out there, you have two not so great passers, which is really, really tough to have. And then Carrie is constantly, as you said, having to cover. And so she's not really playing midfield a lot of the game. She's actually kind of like a fifth person on the back line. And so to have then Nesbeth be essentially your central player, it's not good. It's not good. And so I would wonder, and I don't know how it would be, but I was curious if we were ever going to see Julia and Nesbeth play together, but I don't think we're going to see that. I'm not sure the reasoning as to why that isn't a thing, but I would like to see us go back to Julia and Carrie because I want Julia out on the field because I think that she brings more finesse to the game. And I think that she just has an awareness when she plays with Carrie, and it's probably just from their playing from so much time together. But she just knows when Carrie's going to be back, then she needs to be in this position. And I think that Nesbeth struggles with that. Again, it's how much time they've played together, but it's the pass accuracy. You're talking almost double proficiency with passing, and that's huge in your midfield. Like your midfielders have to be able to pass accurately because you are not going to be able to transition from defense to offense without it. And that is where we struggle as a team. And we just lose possession, and then we just struggle, and we're just sitting in our half of the field over and over and over. And then our just back line is taking a beating, and it's tough to watch. It's really, really tough to watch.
The struggle that comes from Carrie playing so deep is like she is the most accurate passer on the team. And when you don't have that kind of passer higher up, it becomes an issue. Yes, she's, good at, I mean, she played center back in her career at some point. So you can tell that like her natural instinct is to get back and help. And she's great at clearing the ball, and she's great at taking people on from time to time. But like her connection right now with Leilani is just not there. And not that, you know, Julia coming into this match made anything any better when she subbed in. She played higher up the field, replacing Ali Schlegel at the 10 position, like attacking midfield. Post-match, Coach Donaldson said that they did that to try to exploit something that they saw that Gotham was doing.
That was just something tactical in this game. You know, we saw something and we're just trying to exploit it. And, you know, I mean, we wanted to do a little bit more there, but, you know, certain things happen and we just won't discuss. But yeah, I mean, it was something that we saw in this game that we could exploit a little bit.
We were talking about before we were recording, like, Julia's not the fastest player in the world. Probably not what you want as your 10. Not that Allie's any faster than her either, but whatever they were trying to do with her at that position just was not working. I don't know if they'll ever decide to go into like a diamond midfield and utilize more of their midfielders. It really seems like they're committed to this like flat 4 front line. And I don't know Donaldson's sort of history with changing things formationally. But he at least tried something in this match with Julia, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain as to what that could possibly be. Part of me wonders if her passing is so good. I'm wondering if it was something, because we were beating them on the outside. So I'm wondering if it was something where Julia was going to get the ball centrally and be able to slip passes through to like Mal or whomever. But who knows? I'd be curious. Now I'm going to sit there and I kind of want to go back and watch and see if I can figure out what they were doing. But it's interesting to hear. I mean, this is a change from last year. So this is a positive. We have a coach that's making tactical changes during a game and seeing things that teams are doing and trying to adjust. Did it work? No, but at least it's a positive and we're trying something. So I do appreciate that. And so Julie at the 10 was interesting because I was like, what is happening? It could work. I just don't know if she just doesn't have a nose for the goal, in my opinion, to play the 10, kind of like Allie does. But I think I just like her and Carrie back there in the midfield hanging out. I think that it makes sense to me. But again, I will say this, that if this is what we're going to continue to do moving forward with Nesbeth and Carrie starting games, I am genuinely concerned at the fact that Julia's contract is up after this year, that she will not sign back with the club because she's not going to get the minutes. And then she's not probably going to get called up for the national team for Brazil.
Yeah, Lauren, in so many words, basically said, don't expect her to be there again. So she's not going to be at the 10 moving forward. That was just something they were trying in the moment. But yeah, I know what they're trying to do. Like, Lauren obviously sees so much in Leilani when it comes to her mentality to be that player that just jumps on other players and wants to win the ball and get the ball, and she does that. But after she gets the ball, like, nothing's coming from it. We've seen Julia even do that. Gets the ball and nothing really comes from it other than getting it back over to Carrie or up to Allie. And it's like, if you're basically trading like a similar style player for the same player, but with worse offensive statistics. It's not, I don't know what they're doing. Like, I know it seemed like they wanted to reward Leilani for getting healthy and getting out there, scoring her first goal. It seemed like she was going to progress, but I don't think she's progressed in any way in these last couple of matches. Maybe Julia needs to be back in there starting and Leilani just continues to sub in for her. I thought that was working just fine. But right now I don't think it's like a necessarily like a personnel issue. It's a tactics issue, or at least not a personnel issue that you're going to change by utilizing other players that are on your team. It's like you're either going to have to change things tactically or wait for different players to be there in the following season.
Yeah, it's a bigger issue than just swapping one of those two out, because there's a whole other slew of issues with Carrie having to play so far back in the midfield and not being, you don't have that support. And I think that's where Nesbeth is going to struggle, is that there's not that support piece right there for her. And Julia kind of knows that that's not going to be there. And she has figured out Julia reads the field better, I would say, better than most players for the Red Stars. Her ability to see where the ball needs to go, that's why her passing accuracy is so great, because she can read the field. A lot of players, especially when they're new, they only see like a third of the field because it's too much to see all at once. And it's kind of like, they talk about this in like football, like a quarterback new only sees they only look at like the first two routes that a receiver's running. And I think that that's what Nesbeth is struggling with as well. Is that she's only looking for like a couple things, and then she's like, oh gosh, I got to get rid of the ball because somebody's on me. And so she just kicks it. And that's why her pass accuracy is so bad. And so I think that she just needs to, they just need to work on that. She needs to be able to read the field better, and she'll get better with time, I'm sure. But as of right now, we don't have that luxury of being able to do that. We need to have Julie out on the field, and Julie needs to take corner kicks.
It's something that I had mentioned to you when we drafted her. I was very impressed with her scoring ability. I was impressed with her ability to just pounce on people and attack them and get the ball. But as I said to you those several months ago, I was not impressed at all with her passing. And hopefully as her career continues and she learns under players who are very good passers like Carrie Riccaro, however long Carrie's going to be around for, it's something I hope she can improve on, because I'm assuming that based on the contract they gave her and everything, that this woman is the future of this midfield. Hopefully, like, that's the case and she can grow into that. I just don't know what in moments like this, how it's benefiting the team. This isn't like, or her. This isn't like a last year or the year before situation where you can kind of just throw young players out there and say, go get experience. Because right now
there's
it's like
expectations.
Yeah, there's high expectations for this club now. And if you're not meeting those expectations, I don't think you should be out there. And I know that this probably feels like whoever's listening to this, because so many people have been talking her up, that I just sound like an idiot or I'm mean or whatever. But I'm just not seeing what other people are seeing.
Well, and as I said, like, you know, we talked about this, and I agree with you as well, on the passing. And I know I said the quarterback thing. I guess I should follow that up with, when I have played central midfield before, and I view that position as like a quarterback on the football team. They are the driving force of the team. They are the ones that make the transition happen. They're the ones that get the offense going. They're the ones that are spraying the ball all over the field, wherever it may need to go. So that is a lot of weight on someone's shoulders. And so you have to be able to pass the ball accurately. And I think it's a lot to ask of her, given the struggles that our midfield is having. And we know that that's not a strength of her. And to throw her out against a team like Gotham is tough. That's a tough task. And I think that she is just a little out of place at times. She looked a little lost today when she was out on the field. Her positioning to me was not where she should have been. And I saw that there were a lot of pointing going on from Mal at times, from Carrie at times, from Allie at times. And there was just a lot of people were pointing at a lot of the different people during the game, I will say.
True.
But I noticed that she was just a little out of position. And so hopefully over time she will get better. But I just think that if we're looking long term, like as we said, Nesbeth is the future. Like, we don't know how long Carrie's going to play. Julia is not that old. Julia could also be the future of our midfield, but we need to play her if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is my pitch for Julia Bianchi.
They could be, and like, forget that I have Julia's kit behind me, but I don't like you just mentioned earlier, their contract is up at the end of the season. Are they this, like, top player, the best, should be out there full 90s every single time, is like this big name in the league or anything? No. But she's young, she can also get there. Like, everything that we were saying about Leilani, you can say about Julia. Like, they can both grow and get better. And what we've seen from where Julia had her first start to where she is now with Carrie, like, there are so many times where, like, Julia doesn't even have her head up and she can get the ball to Carrie because she knows exactly where Carrie's going to be. But Julia is someone who does pick her head up a lot and reads the field, which is not something we can say about a lot of our players. They tend to just keep their head down, and then there's a lot of pointing and a lot of balls going in a direction that is not where anyone is directing it to go.
Especially in the box, when we just decide we're just going to kick it in when nobody's running into the box. That drives me nuts. Anyway, I just had to throw that in
there. The offense is another story. So yeah, I'll wrap up the midfield talk. I still don't understand why Julia, when she's out there, isn't taking the corners, but we're just taking short corners that go nowhere. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. They're doing it.
It's wasteful. It is so wasteful. I'm going to make another analogy. I'm all about the sports analogies, throwing other things in there. A corner kick to me is getting the ball into the box. It's like in hockey where they say just shoot the puck on net. That's like a corner kick. Anything can happen. The ball can ricochet. But if you take a short corner and you can't even get the ball in the box, it's wasted. You're getting a free opportunity to kick the ball into the mix and hope something happens. And we just choose to take a short one. And I think 2 or 3 times today, it got blocked and went out of bounds, and we didn't even get the ball into the box. Like, it's just wasteful. I can't stand short corners at all, and I want Julie to take them. But also, I will say the one of them that Staub took was actually really good, so I was okay with that. I appreciated her taking her one corner. I noticed was really good.
We didn't win a corner until Julia was out there, and Julia was the one that won the corner. So reward her.
But see now that's going to be the argument that she doesn't need to take them because she needs to win them in the box.
Whatever. No. Like, she won.
She won the corner. I thought we didn't
get the opportunity to take a corner until the first few minutes that Julia was out there, and then suddenly we got our first corner kick because of her. So, like, why?
But Julia, take the corners.
What are we doing?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Lauren heard me. I asked him that one question, and he's just punishing me. I know it. It's LT's
fault, everybody.
This is on purpose. That I asked one question about Julia taking corners, and now we're taking short corners.
We have to ban LT from media from now on, because every question that he's asking, we're just going to get in bad things happening to the players. But Nesbeth is going to start every game now.
I also publicly on this podcast said that Penelope Hawking should probably be on the bench. And now she scores her 3rd goal in as many matches. She's making me eat my words, but any player should do that to me. I'll take improvement in any form. However, this development has come through her moving centrally. something that I've been talking about since last season. She mentioned it post-match when I asked her about it, that it's something that she's been wanting for a while.
In our like pregame meetings, like back-to-back years, I've like begged to play in the middle of the field, and you know, that's where I played in college. That's where I've been most effective. Just, you know, at USC and Penn State, whenever I've done well in the middle of the field, and you know, I mean, I'll play wherever the team needs me, and if that's out wide, I got to figure out ways to be effective out wide. But, you know, I just feel more comfortable, and I just understand the spacing better in the middle of the field. So it's been really nice, and to just get back there and being effective has just been, like, very rewarding, I guess.
The rest of the offense, once again, had a bad first half, decent second half, especially with the goal from Hawking coming in the second half. But it felt like the same struggles we've seen since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, we just cannot like
get out of the gates quick. It doesn't feel like at the beginning of the game, we had a couple opportunities and I was like, okay, here we go. Like maybe we're going to really get something going. And then the tides turned and Gotham just took over the game. And it just doesn't feel like things are clicking fully on the offensive side of the ball. There were numerous times today where Mal would have the ball and you could tell that Penelope was trying to figure out where to make the run. And then it was where Mal was actually trying to go with when she had the ball, and they were just like getting in each other's way. And I think with time, again, they had not played together all that much. So I think with time, they are going to figure that out. But it happened 2 or 3 times during the game. And you could tell that Mal was kind of getting frustrated, and then Penelope was getting frustrated because it's like they were trying to do something and then it ended up not being what they wanted it to be. And I was laughing because every time Mal was trying to go out wide, and I was like, yeah, you have to cut off your angle because you got to do that if you want to get a shot on goal.
That's what Mal does. That is what she does. But it was something that we had talked about and others in the community have talked about since, you know, Penelope got into this league, was her development with and under Mal. And Mal's injury obviously took, you know, that whole conversation and threw it on the back burner until she was back. Now it's been, you know, probably since Penelope's and Mal's injuries this year, very minor ones that just kept them out of a couple of games. They've probably had around 7 matches together. And those matches together were also in different positions. Like Penelope has been playing on the right wing. Mal was playing in that like 9-10 hybrid role. Now Penelope's in that like 9-10 hybrid role. Mal's back on the left wing. So there has still not been much time at all that they've gotten to develop playing next to each other. And I think with more time, we'll see, like we've seen glimpses, but like you said, just like certain moments in this match, just Mal wanting to do one thing and Penelope thinking she's going to do another and just struggling to figure out what's going to happen. It's similar to when Penelope has the ball, like what's Mal going to do? Where's she going to go? How am I going to get it to her? Or should I take this myself? Or you can kind of just see the gears running in her head. And there were like a couple of moments where she did play like a great ball to Mal, or Mal played a good ball to her. And you can see those little glimpses of them playing together. Obviously those chances went nowhere, either like a shot wide of net or right to the keeper or anything. But I like their partnership. I want more of it. I want it to develop more and more. It's something that I like. It's a pairing that I'm pretty sure will be on this club for a few years to come. So it's not like they're not going to have the opportunity to continue to develop together. This is not a short-term partnership.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's going to be, we're going to get some fruits of the labor here soon, for sure. I think that that it's just that reading thing, and it'll come with time. And when it does, it's going to be fantastic because Penelope is one of the only players I feel like that can keep up with Mal. Because I think that happened during the game sometime today. I'm remembering correctly. They were the only two at the other end of the field at one point, and nothing came of it. But you just to have for Mal to know that there's somebody that can keep pace with her on our side, that's never really happened before. So I think to have that, we just need to figure out how to use it properly, and it's going to come with time. And again, we're now getting to the point where you've talked about with Penelope playing centrally, which is what needs to happen, which is where she wants to be. Mal wants to be on the outside. So now that we're finally getting that, and we're going to do that for several games in a row here, hopefully, that they will build that relationship as the season goes forward.
Yeah, Penelope said that she's basically like been wanting this since she got here. Like, I want to play centrally. She said, like, she'll play wherever they need her to be, and if she needs to be better on the wings, she'll be better on the wings. She'll try to develop there, but you can tell just how comfortable she is centrally. It's where she played in college. She played centrally, and I think keeping her there, I think, is the right choice. Obviously, overall, the offense is still a little bit of a struggle this season. Even though the defense let up 2 goals, I still believe that this defense is exceptionally better than the offense and the midfield. I don't have the answers to fix that, but I highly doubt it'll come from any sort of personnel change internally. We've seen pretty much every player that the Red Stars have available this season. Definitely have seen all of the offensive-minded players, and it just isn't working out against these teams that have good defenses. You can score plenty of goals against a Utah or a Bay FC, a Seattle, but it's just been a struggle against anyone with a solid midfield or a solid defense, like a Portland, like a Gotham. So we'll see how that progresses moving forward. But right now, this offense is just it's good in moments, but not against good players.
Yep, I agree. And I think that once we get the midfield more settled, that will help the offense move forward. And I think that also moving Penelope centrally, she has that built-in relationship already with Ali Schlegel, which really helps. So I think because they know where each other are going to be in that 9-10 hybrid position that we're trying to play. And then obviously Jenna was playing as well outside. So I think it'll come. I will say that offensively, I've been impressed with Jamise Joseph. I think that she brings a spark when she comes off the bench. I would be curious to see more starts from her, what that would look like, but I do appreciate her coming off the bench because I think she brings a little juice to the field when she comes out there.
You could tell when she subbed on that the momentum shifted. It was strange that when Penelope scored that goal, which was, it came from a set piece, Mal put in a beautiful ball into the box and Sam got her head to it. First time we've really seen Sam get like an opportunity on goal this season. Keeper deflects it, rebounds right to Penelope. Penelope, gets it in. But I thought the momentum shift would happen there on that goal, but it didn't. It happened when Jamise Joseph subbed into the match. That's when we started to get a lot of shots, or not a lot, but more shots than we're used to on goal, more opportunities in the box. She just plays, I said it last week, she just plays like she's a veteran. It's weird. Maybe not like a very experienced veteran, but at least someone who's been in the league for a year or two. She just has like a good head on her shoulders. She just seems to be someone who has a lot of confidence in themselves and their ability. and I'm curious like how these second halves seem to be better because of our subs that we get in with different energy and everything. Just what possibly could happen if Jimmy's got one start on that right side. Like Jenna has been great at times, and then like a game like this, a little kind of in the background, a little disappeared. But I wouldn't say like, get Jenna out of there and get Jimmy's in there. I'm curious what a first half energy would look like with a player with Jimmy's energy.
Yeah, I think it could be interesting, especially the fact that we've struggled to play well in the first half. So having her start could be that boost that the team needs to get the ball rolling. I think that she, as you said, she brings such a confidence on the ball that you don't see from rookies. And I just love that she is the way that she trusts herself to be able to make the plays that she does. That speaks a lot to who she is as a player. And she was kind of somebody that when she got picked up by Chicago, they're like, who? Like, what? I remember there were so many questions about that. And now you're like, oh, wow. Okay, here we are. Like, she's really good. So
Yeah.
I'm just impressed. I'm impressed by her. I was one of those people who's like, what are we doing? Who is that? Why are we drafting her? And I am happily eating my words with what I've seen from her.
Me too.
Because yeah, she is definitely so far to me one of the like a diamond in the rough type of person that you find in a draft. And I think that she is somebody that people didn't expect a lot from, and I like what she brings, but I would like to see her start. And I think that we know that Jenna brings a lot of energy when she comes off the bench, so it would be interesting to swap them and see what happens
For one match.
We'll see. We'll
We'll see.
Maybe a couple. I'm not dead set on Jenna being a starter.
Really? I am.
Really? I know you are. I'm not set. I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet.
Okay.
But
I think her highs have been way more on the other side than her lows have, is how I see it.
Yeah.
Like her lows have just been like average, not like, oh God, why is she out there? And then her highs are like tremendous. You're like, oh my gosh, like this is a player that we kept on the bench all last season. This is ridiculous.
And a player we didn't protect in the expansion draft and nobody took, and I bet people are kicking themselves. Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible that they're regretting that decision.
Utah, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, after what she did to Utah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not set, but again, make me eat my words, just as LT said. Like, I love to be wrong. So go for it. I feel like that happens when you say something, and not negative, but just like not super positive about a player. Sometimes you just put that out into the universe and then things happen. So why not? Prove me wrong, Jenna.
Here comes a Jenna bike brace against Louisville. The one thing that we wanted to talk about prior to that we had discussed prior to recording was Ella Stevens' celebration and her lifting up the top part of her jersey and kissing the Gotham crest after scoring that 90th minute goal, beating her former team. What do you think that says about that whole situation?
Well, I think that Ella didn't want to be in Chicago anymore, is what that whole thing said to me. It was very, what's the word I want to use? I can't think of another word other than demonstrative, and that's not really the word that I'm looking for. But it was an aggressive celebration. I'll say that. It wasn't just one kiss of the crest. It was numerous, and pointing and just a lot. And then the selfie with the team, the whole thing. Yeah, I think that it just shows that she's happy to not be in Chicago anymore. And I personally, and I still stand by this, I don't think that it was the right move for her, but she's allowed to do whatever she wants. She'd probably be starting for Chicago if she were here. But if she's not happy, good for you. Go do your thing. But I mean, I don't like it as a Chicago fan, but when it comes to sports, I love it. I love that kind of stuff. I like the not crappy trash talk, but I like the trash talk in games and the little rivalries here and there. I think there needs to be more of that in NWSL. So it was kind of fun. It just sucks that it happened to us because it feels like that stuff always happens to us. But I like this kind of thing that kind of creates a little drama.
Yeah, I don't like it as a Chicago fan. I like it as an Ella Stevens fan. I had always sang Ella's praises when she was here in Chicago. I thought it was ridiculous that they kept playing her out of position for so many years, and even so far back as like the 2021 season of her just sitting on the bench that entire time when they're losing players left and right, and she's still just sitting on the bench. We said the same thing about BSG. But like, she was consistently a good player for Chicago, and she led the team in goals in Mal's absence. And she was one of those players that you had that, like, you had mentioned, that could keep up with Mal. I always go back to that iconic goal that Mal scored against Kansas City where she went box to box. The only reason that goal works out is because Ella pulled Cassie Miller to her side because she was keeping up with Mal that entire time. Cassie pulls to Ella. Mal doesn't pass to her. Cassie has to go back. Mal skirts around Cassie, scores the goal. If Ella's not there, if a player like Ella is not there, who knows if Mal even gets it past Cassie. So I've always sang Ella's praises. I think her footwork on the ball is incredible. We saw that in the last match that Gotham played with that like half volley turnaround shot that got her goal of the week. So for her to do something like this against Chicago is fascinating as an Ella Stevens fan. The whole thing that happens afterwards with the celebration, with the phones and kissing the crest multiple times, it's what makes this sport fun and exciting. It's what you said, like, needs more of that in this league. As a Chicago fan, it's heartbreaking. We really needed that point. Who knows how, what that does to this team's confidence now, but clearly, New York is where Ella wants to be, and as of late, she seems to be thriving there. I think with a team like Chicago is right now, she would probably be a 90-minute player consistently with the way our offense is going right now. And considering how much she did for a team that was not great, what she could do on a team that is good, you can see that in Gotham. So it's bittersweet. I'll say it's bittersweet, and you can I don't know. You can see back in this off season, it's very telling how this all played out.
Yep, I agree. I think that now that hindsight's 2020. Hindsight's 2020.
Just sometimes people need to listen to me. Just sometimes. When
right?
I say
just sometimes.
Like, me for a long time saying like Ella Stevens is a great player, Ella Stevens is a great player, Ella Stevens is a great player. And then watching national media be like, oh, this Ella Stevens player, she's really good. seems to be like the pickup of the season for Gotham. And I'm like, come on. Like,
you had the hot take.
I don't know. I just wanted her to stay here.
I know,
That's all
it
I wanted.
sucks. It
all I
stinks. And
wanted.
then watching Tierna come out, that was tough. Like that was a brutal one. But you know what? I'm happy that they're happy. I hope that they have injury-free now that Tierna's back, injury-free rest of their seasons, and I hope that they're successful, but not too successful.
Yeah, I think in the end they'll probably continue to develop, maybe not in a similar way that Portland has, but you can see clearly that whatever Gotham has been doing in the first part of the season is not living up to their potential. So there's still plenty there. A team like Chicago, you can kind of see that they have potential to live up to as well, but their ceiling probably isn't as high as a team like Portland, as a team like Gotham. And I think with more time, you can find other players develop unexpectedly, or an off season like this upcoming off season can happen, and there could be another like small rotation of players that come in that far exceed the level of talent that is on this team right now. But I think for now, Chicago is still a playoff team. I don't know if they're a top of the table team, but I still think that they'll be in there for that playoff race come the end of the season.
I agree. I think that they're going to come back and have a good showing next week. The only issue I have is that I'm a little worried about DeMello and Flint in the middle, in that midfield. It's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, Louisville last year led the league in draws. They lead the league this year.
It's ridiculous. Whatever it is, it's ridiculous.
It's so I don't want to draw against them. I'd love to win against them, but if a draw is in the cards, just based on how racing's season is going, it wouldn't be unexpected to see a level match come next.
I'll take a draw, but I think that we're gonna get the win. I do. I think we're gonna win something like 3-2. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. They've been
not hemorrhaging goals, but certainly don't have the greatest defense out there. They have Carson Pickett, but she can't do everything for them.
Yeah, and Abby Urseg she's there, but I mean, they've got some holes. That's why I'm wondering if we're going to see Taylor Mallon play in that game. I'm almost wondering if that's what we're going to see.
Possible.
But
just utilize the offensive side more, maybe.
That's it'll be interesting, but it's gonna be a tough game. It'll be a fun one though. I think it's very winnable.
I think so too. It's interesting that it'll be at home. Last time out, Chicago got their second home win of the season. They've been struggling at home. Hopefully it's a trend that they can continue this. You can't call it a trend after one game, but hopefully they can start a trend of winning at home again for those fans. I'll be there. I plan on being at every home game this season, so we'll see how my plans play out for that one. But I should be there this weekend.
It should be good. It's the last game before the international break, so let's get a win, go into the break on a high note.
Absolutely. And with that, I'll wrap things up unless you have anything else that you wanted to bring up, Liz.
I'm good. I'm just happy that you invited me back, and shout out to the Discord community as always.
I was really hoping that this time it would have been a draw, and it could have been like you were here on a loss, now you're here on a draw, and the next time we'll be on a win. But 2 losses in a row.
No such luck.
Let's not keep that going.
Let's change that trend too.
Yes, let's change that. Let's change that. But yeah, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to any of those platforms so you can figure out when our next episodes go up. Make sure you're following us at Red Stars Report on our social media channels to keep up with the latest news between the episodes. As Liz mentioned, don't forget to join our Discord with the link in the description. It's an awesome community. It's something I'm very proud of, and everyone in there is just having a good time this season. I think regardless of results. Next time that you see us, you know, hopefully it's a win against Racing and we have something positive to talk about. And then we'll, be previewing the following matches after that, but we'll be talking about the international break coming up as well. But with that, you can see us next week for another Red Stars Report.